Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, episode 11 of the Eternal City series. Yes. Our grand campaign has been a fascinating one. We've taken aggressive action and forged basically forward operating bases in multiple different campaigns within the area. Now it's time to start doubling down and boosting economy. I suspect these next few turns is going to mark the beginning of a new philosophy. And I wonder how Rome will change. Well, first things first. We have to eliminate this Cantabri threat that has amassed at Segobriga. They have a lot of soldiers, all ready to chuck some sort of missile at the heads of my Roman soldiers. Superior tactics are going to be required, most certainly required. I'll see you on the field.
I look around me and I see fear in some places and hope in others. But in all I see resolution and duty. Enemy reinforcements approaching.
Shut up, Sergeant.
That is why we hold here. Make ready.
Publius Scipio, the African Legion, makes their stand here today. They may be outnumbered 3-1, but they are Romans.
This is a good day to live.
Let's see what we're working with here. The formations that Lucius Scipio has employed. Let's take a look. This undoubtedly is the front line of the Roman army. Here in these fields, overlooking the soon-to-be-seen enemy. They wait for their scout reports to determine the size, the makeup of the army, ready to make minor adjustments as things arise. The front line, we're going to call this killing fields. Here, at the crucible,
Right, man, close watch on those bastards.
at the keystone, Etruscan spearmen hold and protect the sinew that ties them to the second biggest deployment in the Roman legion here, the right flank of our army on this hill crest into these grasslands. Undoubtedly, there will be a ranged fight, a tremendous ranged fight here. We're going to call this grassy knoll. They're deployed with a small gap in between so that ranged units can send missiles onto oncoming enemies through this vast grassland to protect the core of the hilltop. And of course, they are reinforced with some prominent Roman triarii. Very good. Back into the center. Some more spare units, some spare cavalry just defending the core. And of course, next to the killing fields are 2 legions at the ready. Undoubtedly to cut any sort of advancement through here. We're going to call this region Villa. Makes total sense. It's quite a nice one, actually. Right? Look at that. I wouldn't mind living there. I don't mind living this way. You know, like I don't need... Air conditioning's great. Don't get me wrong. But when you live in climates like this, it's different. It still gets really hot, but it's different. And then, of course, a secondary legion to protect it. So the villa here is going to be a choke point, I think. Villa. And, of course, in an interesting final battlefield here on the far. This is the far Roman left now. We're going to call this area the Orchard. You can see 2 evenly spaced legion units, and in reserve, a Velite unit for anti-cavalry projectile throws. And then, of course, on the far left, a single cavalry unit to protect and provide mobility assaults. Makes sense. Behind them all, of course, is another slinger unit, backed up by another cavalry, another legion, a spearman unit, a triar unit, and Publius Scipio himself. Where's this guy? Boom. Now he knows this is a big battle. This is a really important battle. He's got to win this. Massively outnumbered. This is the difference between him failing his Spanish campaign or making it work. It's quite a complicated battlefield, guys, so just take a look. We're going to go step by step and watch as Publius Scipio fights maybe the most significant battle of his career. One of the most difficult battles of his career. We're going to skip ahead in preparation for the assault. Let's check out the enemy army. What kind of composition? That's enormous. And they do look menacing. Each wearing their own torque, which is the necklace around their necks, a common jewelry type in the Celto-Iberian regions of Spain and Lower France. They slowly march to take the hill. And behind them, an enormous horde of professional soldiers here to kick the Romans out of their city. We're in their city at Segobriga. This incredible battle that's about to happen is really a story of independence for some soldiers here. This is a story of homeland defense in a lot of ways as well.
Everyone fights. No one slacks.
Look at the detail on the helmets. Look at that. One with scales, right? Look how sick that is. The battle's about to begin. Looks like lighter units are heading right for... I knew this would be an integral battle point here. We're going to call this Keystone Forest. Boom. Keystone. This unit is Keystone. It ties these two forces together. And it's so incredibly important it does not fall. Some shots are beginning to be thrown. And it looks like they're deviating away from Keystone Forest and now towards Bloodfields. They're going to take this hill and do their best to provide some gaps for their main infantry line to break through. Wow. Hurling spears to the Roman line. Look at that. Absolute hell. They need to put up their shields. This is not looking good for Romans. But they're going to have to hold the fire for the time being. Looks like far in the vineyard area, we're starting to have some cavalry maneuvers. Some Cantabri skirmish cav is trying to dominate the fields. This is exactly what they expected, which is why they have the Velte changes. And of course we have our first main infantrymen readying themselves to charge Grassy Knoll and Keystone Forest. But really they want to expend as much as their ammunition as possible. I mean, look at how many kills it's getting. They need to hold on. They need testudo formation. Where are their commanders? This has to be a lesson, the legions. Looks like they dispelled their Pelem, and now, full hand-to-hand combat is about to occur. Keystone Forest has now been charged. Grassy Knoll has now been charged. The main fight has begun. Let's go and check over what's happening here in Orchard. But before we do to Orchard, here, look at Villa. This is going to be interesting. Villa needs to charge right now and take this hell bonus. Here we go. Villa is in full charge. Full hand-to-hand combat mode now. But even before the killing fields, this is more of just range defense field at this point. You know, like protect your head field. Let's head over towards Orchard. There happens to be some cavalry engagements here, and it looks like Rome is victorious and just reducing any remaining cavalry alive. They've shooed them away from the orchards. Very good job. Cavalry defense was the name of the game of this flank anyhow. And there's still a lot of enemy here left, as you can tell. So keeping really Villa pinched in here the best they can, as well as keeping a ranged defilade position, is going to be critical to fending off these cavalry attacks. It's going to be a very, very important battle that Rome absolutely has to win. It was a good placement on these defenses in the orchard to fend against more cavalry attacks. It keeps them from being able to poke as easily without getting stuck, and I think the enemy commander is aware of this. Villa is now being fully charged. Enemy reinforcements are being sent in, and so are Romans, to finally take this back, finish off this angle, so that the majority of these newer infantrymen don't reach them. Let's watch them for a second, these barbarian units, as they rush into the battle themselves. These elite barbarian units are pushing as hard as they can against the Roman line. Whoa, careful. Whoa. Man, he's fighting everyone. It's like 1v7. Look at this guy just dominating the space. Oh, wow, he's fast. Just surviving the grind. This guy's cool. The lines are holding. The lines are holding. The battle is in full tilt. This is the fever pitch. where a good commander can swing the battle into the favor, because this is not looking good for Rome. They are completely outnumbered in every angle, desperately trying to fight to stay alive. I mean, look at this. They are holding every little bit of hill that they can, trying to maintain formation and discipline throughout the army. Let's head back over here to Orchard. And a giant cavalry charge by the Romans into the backs of these Cantabria units. They're doing their best to cause them to flee. The Orchard here has to be won. Full charge into the running units, and now finally there's some cavalry maneuverability here over in Orchard. More hand-to-hand fights. These anti-cavalry units now are in absolute one-on-one, and I'm not that worried because I know Publius Scipio is aware these units here can grind out a 1v1 all day. It's when they're fully stacked from all over the place that they're going to start to have trouble. These Cantabria units are still picking off as many Romans as they can. There is a gap here available for Velta units if they choose to just move forward and flank either way, but I'm sure that they're a little concerned about this cavalry unit here first. So instead, it looks like the commander has wheeled around some slinger units to both help take out some of the Cantabria units here that are working the angle around the Romans, as well as some of these horsemen here, which need to be fired upon immediately. Let's get back into the thick of the fighting. I'm trying to see if the same soldier is alive. I think he was like right here, right? Isn't that him? What was he in blue? He had a blue shield. I remember that. Look how amazing that is. Look at that. An absolute war. Romans must hold the line. Bloodfields now, and the traditional Principe is just holding on, grinding it out. Looks like the right side of the bloodfield, killing fields here, I mean basically bloodfields at this point, is really getting weak. That is a concern. Let's see what reserve units Publius Scipio can deploy. He has some spare spearmen here in testudo formation in the rear, as well as some emergency units from Orchard if need be. Orchard, which looks like is in full rout now and has completely been cleaned up by these amazing soldiers. Orchard has been won by the Romans. This is going to be critical here to be able to start providing some flanks, because I'm going to be honest, this isn't looking good. The center here is not looking good, and I'm sure Publius Scipio is aware, which is why he's rushing up to give as many inspirational commands and survey the battlefield. He gave a command order here to prepare a flank, undoubtedly, to the rear here of these units by Villa. Cleaning that up is going to provide some flexibility because he has to get some heavy troops into his center. Keystone Forest is holding, but that too, you know, that's not strong either. So think of this as two weak units here in the dead center of the entire army. It's got to be taken care of. It's got to be taken care of immediately. So let's see what kind of shifting is happening at the moment, while the Romans ready themselves after a successful fending off of a Cantabria assault here in Orchard and in these vineyards here. Still more Cantabria soldiers want more. These guys do not quit. Look at this. They're coming right back. I don't even think the Romans are aware. I think they think that this entire flank has already been completely cleaned out. And they thought twice. They thought twice and ran out. These Cantabria units. Are they Cantabria units or my units? Oh, these might be my units. These might be mercenary people I bought. Okay, that makes sense. That might be my heavy cavalry. Yeah, and it seems like Publius Scipio is starting his offensive wheel here, moving the Velite units, which are amazing flankers. They are amazing flankers. Always use them to flank. Always, always, always. Don't get them charged at. That's the catch. He knows this. These are essentially Italian, like, swordsmen. Look at that. Undoubtedly, he's going to set up some rear charges here. Let's get back into this core center of the army. Looks like heavy soldiers are instead taking this position, and they're doubling down, moving more velites to basically meet them around the corner. That makes sense. As well as sending some, looks like, slinger units here to take the far line of the enemy to start getting some cheap shots, which are going to be required, honestly, because they are vastly outnumbered. This is looking scary. I mean, so much that they had to move emergency spearmen here, just as I thought they would. But they doubled down on this flank instead of the in-between. It's interesting. We're going to see if that's a smart choice or not, because look, it is getting very thin. The Romans have wheeled around, but there are a lot of gaps here that could be problematic if the Roman general does not do something about this. Vastly outnumbered. Look at the difference. Hold. Publius Scipio is considering moving more units into reserve. He has one here just in case. He has to send it to Keystone Forest. Orchard has been completely won and dominated. And now I think side flanks are getting ready to occur. Multiple slinger fire to just soften the target right before flank. He's peppering the unsuspecting backs of the Cantabria enemy here at the Battle of Segobriga. And it puts him into a full flank, a full route. This is amazing. These tactics are working so well for the Roman units. This is what superior commanding looks like. Despite being completely outnumbered, this is exactly what it looks like. And to clean up, some Velite units are sent into the fold. Let's go! Clean them up. Meet the Romans in the field. They're right there. Let's go. Push up, push up. Total chaos in the enemy encampment. Flank after flank is starting to cause multiple units to rout. Roman units are chasing down what looks like the enemy Cantabria leader, doing their best to dehorse as many as the enemy as possible without losing tactical oversight. Maintaining this hill here, no doubt, is going to be incredibly important. We are in full enemy territory at this point. Directly behind the enemy lines, setting up multiple flanks to chew down the remaining forces. These forces, these Roman units are exhausted. Fight. Cavalry charge directly through killing fields is breaking up the Roman units. This is going to cause a lot of morale problems. Look at this guy, just legend. Look at this legend. Just rolls in, kills a few Romans, dips. Love it. This is some intense fighting. And it looks like the great general of the African Legion is fully aware that this is going to be a duking out. And that these units here are so thin one-man line, two-man lines. Reinforcements must be sent to the killing fields. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. Men are fleeing the front line. Battle speeches are being given. Here we go. Some movement. Yeah, it looks like Villa has been completely won and freedom has been found here. Freedom of movement for the general as more and more Romans close the gap here on any attempt of taking Villa and flanking around the Roman units. The battle is quickly turning into the Roman favor despite the odds. It's an incredible use of tactics. Everything is still supported and full, except here. This is going to be the final area where reinforcements will arrive, and the objective is to get here before it breaks. There are some weaknesses here, as well as the weaknesses we've talked in killing fields, but now those weaknesses have been supported with the reinforcements. Skirmishes going on over here in Villa's, really just Romans cleaning up any remaining enemy. I mean, it's clearly a Roman victory. Publius Scipio himself led the charge. The Cantabria units are in full rout, exhausted. This back line is being fought and vied for. It's understandable. The Cantabria units are trying desperately to take back the rear line in order to have command over the center. If they lose command of the center, it's game over for the Cantabria army. Both generals are fully aware of this, and so multiple attempts and multiple charges between enemy units and Romans are being made. Even the heaviest noble swordsmen here doing their best to chew down as many of the Romans as possible. It is an absolute slug out. If the Cantabria army successfully takes the center again, it might be over for Rome, just from the sheer numbers that this army has. They might be able to overwhelm. Multiple cavalry engagements here at the bottom of the hill. Been going on for hours upon hours. The Romans are closing the noose. Reinforcements have been submitted. Check this out. Triar units are in full assault now. They've switched away from their spears, and maybe, yeah, some have swords, some have spears, it seems. No, they all have their spears out, okay. Rome is doing its very best. More Romans are fleeing the cowards. The army might have to be decimated after this battle. The standard of the Cantabria army is slowly making its way uphill. These units must be exhausted. These are the fleeing Romans. A full legion fleeing. Shame on you. The army is really starting to get peeled back. Publius Scipio has to make some changes here. There has to be some sort of maneuver for victory. And it seems that they are pushing through and are ready for a final charge. Giving speeches to the men. They have to take this killing field. They have to hold the remainder of the center. Publius Scipio himself is wheeling around the enemy. And it appears a full charge. Publius Scipio himself, full charge into the rear of the enemy right now, trying to close this battle out. They have to take out all these extra units if there's going to be any chance. Keystone Forest must be won, and Grassy Knoll must be taken over. If they do this, The battle is completely over. They're pushing as hard as they can. Enemy units are returning back to the battle to help the final stages of this great, great fight that we are witnessing. It looks like multiple enemies are starting to run. Yes. Yes, and Romans storm down the hill. The battle is won. Battle of Segobriga, 199 BC, led by the African Legion. Publius Scipio himself. What a commander. What a battle. I'll see you on the campaign map. Ladies and gentlemen, after that amazing victory, we were immediately re-attacked. Publius Scipio, just coming off the heels of that battle, we'll have to do it again. Victory means winning the city. It's interesting how his ally doesn't show up to help. Am I right? A second stage to this fantastic battle. I mean, that past battle was something special. And now, this, fantastic. Second stage to Segobriga, the Battle of Segobriga, Part 2. Wave 2. I will see you on the field.
Make yourselves ready, men, for the storm is upon us. Our enemies are as cold-hearted as winter wind from the mountains. Enemy reinforcements have been spotted. Yield for our people,
for Roma. Our brave commander, barely able to muster his arms after receiving a message from one of their local scouts that the enemy is coming. Desperate to mount a defense, they just left the city walls to begin their replenishment campaign and recruit local soldiers to bolster the ranks, when somehow the enemy found a means of reorganizing and have come to crush the unsuspecting Roman army. Let's take a look at the battleground here. Our great king is leading his units. Excuse me, not king. Publius Scipio himself has put his units into full-on ambush mode. After all, they are in dicey trouble, ready to take on the enemy as they come about. The scouts received reports that here on top of this hill, some enemy have arrived. They ride out to meet them in the great fields. This is where the battle will partake. This central location, right here. This, where you're going to call the mouth, is lined with Roman soldiers, and the intent is to goat cavalry units into these traps by means of ranged infantry here, the slingers that the Romans have employed, hoping to cut off these reinforcements from connecting with the main army far in the distance. And so Rome is going to do its best to try to harass as many of these units as possible. Full-on charge by some heavy cavalry units to try to take out these unsuspecting swordsmen. Publius Scipio himself leading the charge. Multiple infantry are popping up out of nowhere. A full-on cavalry attack here. These units are completely pinned down. These Roman units, these cavalry units are completely pinned down. This is not looking good. Publius Scipio keeps flying through as many units as he possibly can. And an enemy charge into the backs of the Romans. These Romans here are taking pilum fire, spear throws, and they've completely broken. They're being pulled out. They're completely shattered. They are running as far away from the enemy as possible, trying to salvage as many units as they possibly can, but that was just an unsuccessful attempt to push them back. These units in a courageous counterattack come right back into the following skirmisher cavalry units. In the far distance you can see enemy cavalry taking on some of these ranged units, but it's taking them straight into the traps, and I suspect many of these cavalry units will break and perish on these traps, leading them straight into the walls of the Romans here in the mouth. Roman units that are fleeing are activating their own traps. It's quite a disappointing battle. Heavy cavalry wheel back, waiting for reinforcements. Unfortunately, the Cantabria units successfully fended off these Romans. And now they're taking really the main battle line here. This is not looking good for Rome. Almost every flank is being challenged, including this flank here deep in the forests, holding the line against more skirmish cavalry attacks, doing their very best to remain hidden and defensible. They go right into Testudo to basically weather out the storm, both figuratively and literally. Let's check back up here on the mouth. Nothing in the jaws of this Roman formation, and the Cantabria cavalry are just dominating the field, and they have full range to organize themselves. This is not a good look. These spare units here connecting with the main army is going to prove highly problematic, and it is just bad strategy to let these somewhat weaker infantry blobs connect with their other generals. This is something needs to be done about these units here. Just taking out these four is going to be a huge swing for the Roman army. More Cantabria attacks right on the edge here. This final line here, and heavy forest on the Roman right. The Roman front is still, really the whole battle line does seem to be kind of shifting here. Out here in the fields, looks like there is a cavalry attack coming. It's Publius Scipio and his horsemen once again making the critical decision. His men need his leadership in this moment. The Roman cavalry is setting up a pincer move. Hopefully they will quickly take out these units. Publius Scipio himself in the thick of the battle, taking his cavalry units as far as they can go, pushing off enemies as he struggles to find some extra kills. His men doing everything they can to end this battle as quickly as possible, to just quickly cut off any potential enemies so they can reform with the main legion line fighting desperately. Oof. Publius Scipio taking an enormous amount of damage. He has to be very careful here. These Cantabria units will not go down. They've now successfully... What is this? Oh no. Enemy Cantabria reinforcements are coming in. Publius Scipio has to be very careful. They're coming in for a countercharge. And a second cavalry unit comes in. This is not looking good for Rome. They are vastly outnumbered, and Publius Scipio is now trapped in his own trap. I've lost sight of him. I don't know where he is. There he is. Publius Scipio is in really bad shape. Reinforcements are being rushed to try to help him. Romans are falling right and left. And these swordsmen are just enduring. Look at that. They're downing these horsemen. Scipio is somewhat out of danger, it seems. He's just heading out on the edges, and looks... Skirmishers are rushing in to help Publius Scipio, because if he dies, the whole army falls. The main army has not even reached the ranks yet. This little side skirmish here is going to really change the tides in terms of who has central control over the battlefield. And the Cantabria units here are hard fought. We have men running from the field. As more infantrymen come in, here we go, some help. Some help from the Romans. They're now mixing up. But these swordsmen are still holding firm. Publius Scipio regaining his breath while the rest of his men come in and try to do their best to charge and take them down. They're withering down. It's only a matter of time before the Romans win. And what's this? More cavalry coming in. Scipio has to retreat. He's lost so many men. He has to retreat. This is not looking good for him. Instead, he trades off with an infantry unit that's coming in to win this skirmish battle. Skirmishers are now fighting noble spearmen and swordsmen. They are just getting hacked in. They sacrifice themselves to save Publius Scipio as the legionnaires come in to save the day. Now it's sword versus sword. The Cantabria units are desperately trying to send as much missile fire in, and the Velites also pulled back in order to get some shots off. The main battle is about to take. The majority of the enemy is getting nearer towards the primary battle lines. These heavier noble swordsmen, they're no joke. But out here in the fields, it's just absolute chaos. These units are taking every little bit of damage. Here comes a charging unit, and once again, these legionnaires are holding on. It's incredible. A secondary charge by more Cantabria units with short swords. They're being completely flanked. This unit has to hold this position while reinforcements come. You can see in the distance, actually, some more legionnaires are rushing. Two groups of legionnaires were removed from the battle lines to try to meet up with them. You can see Publius Scipio here. Publius Scipio just hanging out, making sure that he doesn't pass away so he can issue commands. If he falls, the army falls, undoubtedly. But this legion is holding on as long as it can possibly fight, fending off all sorts of units, cavalry, infantry, skirmishers. They're so vastly outnumbered. It's such a gory fight to the death. They're 100% surrounded. How the tables have turned. It was only just a few hours ago that they had Cantabria units cornered. Now Romans are completely surrounded, and enemy infantry are coming in to try to seal the deal. They need reinforcements, or each one of these Romans will not make it home. Some velites have now extended all of their ammunition, and they go in desperately trying to help and create as many flanks as possible. Finally, legionnaires are slowly making their way into the fight. You can just see the absolute chaos, how few units there actually are getting into this fight here. Desperately trying their best to hold the line while these reinforcements make it to them. But you can see just the amount of damage, and another cavalry charge into these Roman units, and more PLM. I mean, they are absolutely getting massacred. But they're holding on. Somehow, they're holding off this entire flank force. And finally, some reinforcements have come in. Full-blooded Romans here defending the heroic unit that hacked down cavalry charge after cavalry charge. It's absolutely incredible. Let's go to our main line here and see what's adjusted. There's been a change in front line. I'm sure people have shifted over here towards the right to get ready themselves for a major conflict. We're gonna sit right here. Maybe not here. This unit here will do its very best to hold off the incoming charges. At the moment, they're just peppering off as many of these javelin throws in testudo formation as possible, using the trees and whatever cover they can to try to slow down any sort of missile effort from the enemy before the main engagement here. Here they come, first charge. Romans are holding. Somewhat of a flank attack here. Really not the best, but the Romans have some backup units, which will for sure be charged in here any second. Lane's now being pushed up, and a full battle is now taken on. The rest of the reinforcements come pouring in. You can see in the far distance more cavalry assaults, more cavalry repelling. They're really trying to break the backs of this Roman army. Look at the amount of men the Cantabria units were able to actually field after such a critical battle, the Battle of Segobriga. Oh, another terrifying charge from the enemy straight into the ranks, and the enemy just keep pouring into this forest, and I'm not sure how long these Romans can hold if more and more reinforcements keep coming in. I mean, they have so many numbers against this army. It's a desperate attempt to break the yoke of the newly founded Roman rule. This is a retaliation after an enormous, devastating sack of this city, killing an enormous amount of the population to reinstate total control. The Romans genuinely feared this enemy to the point where Roman rule had to be coming from an iron fist. Fighting against trees, 400 years old. These armies are in total clash. And out in the fields, just a complete slug out. A complete and total slug out. These units are holding on. It's just an absolute mess. Units are mixing with units, but lo and behold, in the background are some Roman legionnaires preparing their pilum and ready for a countercharge. Quickly take out some courageous forces that just turned the tide. So it looks like that far Roman left will be completely fine, but the thick of the battle at the moment is really where the concern is. It's hand-to-hand combat. These Spanish soldiers do such a good job in grinding you down. Enemy reinforcements are pouring in. Another wave of enemy about to flank our Roman units. This is not good. Ammunition has run out amongst the army. It is now sword and shield, complete and total sword and shield, close combat fighting. These Romans have to win the forest. It is the main battle line. You have to drive them out of the forest and end this army once and for all. Finally, some rear charges from some faster units are slowly taking the reverse end of the field. The far field battle has been won. Romans are victorious after an incredibly bloody slug out that is still going on. Absolutely wild, heroic deed here. This held off the entire army from being slowly picked apart. And more importantly, their ambush was able to remain. So it surprised the formation of the enemy. That's super important. So now these Romans completely clean up, getting ready to move into the forests in this direction to help assist the rest of the army eliminate this Cantabria threat. Romans have been reinforced with their final reserve unit of Triarii. And now the noose is slowly getting tightened. Our units will fight the remaining Cantabria swordsmen and struggle to take this forest. Victory must be Roman. Victory. The sweet smell of victory. The enemy runs. Cowards. See you on the campaign map. Praise Juno. That was unbelievable. That fight was so good. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I love this mod. I love this mod so much. One unit on the far Roman left held the entire field. That was crazy. It was like something straight out of the Eagle. Oh man. That legion won the day. May his sacrifice be forever remembered. Publius Scipio almost fell, but he rushed in there to hold the line. If that left were to fall, flanks would be inevitable, and the main force hidden in the forests would not have been able to drive out the enemy like that. Wow. This campaign is filled with so many amazing fights, desperate moments, dramatic battles, stark landscapes, beautiful music. I'm going to remember that battle for a long time. Let's continue the campaign. We finally took the city. You have to tip your hat to Carpetani a little bit. That they would send every single soldier out to meet. I mean, they nearly ambushed me. If it wasn't for that scout. Barely letting us know in time. A lot of men would have died. No doubt about that. Out of respect for the citizens, I'm not sure if I'm going to completely sack. But I am. I'm going to sack and I'm going to take them everything that they got. And murder the population. Population is money. And my soldiers do need to replenish. This is true. Occupy would only be 500 gold. But a lower population is easier to manage. We're going to sack. Knock these enemies' teeth straight out. Hellas. Respect. Political obstruction. When one is climbing the greasy pole, there is one rule. Hunt or be hunted. Degree. Look at the amount of influence I have. Easy. Good. Am I losing power or gaining power that way? Well, either way. Is anyone qualified for office? Not quite yet. Guys, R.I.P. But Lucius Caesar in Liguria. Let's check out our empire. It's been a while. Carthago Nova. One of my favorite cities. This has become quite a trade hub, although there does seem to be some disease issues. But the close proximity of cities here have created some sort of metropolitan. And of course my ally, my strong, loyal ally, who decides to not engage in wars.
Ready for orders.
We shall occupy.
Commander.
We shall occupy and repair. Sanitation and squalor is quite high. Carthago Nova has a special, so do you. You have a special. That doesn't quite give me what I need. So we're going to remove that and try to add a different building. We need to keep repairing our economy. Everything's on the mend automatically. This is exactly what we're looking for.
At your command.
Our units are growing very strong. We have multiple armies. Repair costs. I need to repair you. At Patavium.
Ready for orders.
course, our northern campaign is heating up as well. We've been declared war on by these northern tribes. Tarasia will have to fall. Mandalanium will have to fall. The Massalian Republic has deployed a large army in our area to support. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm hoping they apply northern pressure so I can move in towards Mandalanium. Over in Greece, Dyrrachium is in trouble. I have no forces nearby. That's annoying. I may have to deploy an army there. Carthage still stands, milking them for everything we got, but as soon as they're done paying up, I'm going to destroy them. Question is what to do. We're going to retrain some of these units. We're going to wait one turn at least before engaging them. We also need to retrain these units. Ooh, what's going on here? Oh, I merged. Damn it. Did not mean to do that. Oops. Lost one unit, but I guess maybe it's for the best. I don't know. We need to also convert these. Oof. I only have 336 gold. We're going to hold unless I can quickly just take you out. We'll have to decide on the next episode. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in episode 12. Wow, what an amazing set of battles. Oh, so good. I'll see you guys next time. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear what you thought about the cinematic battles. Which was your favorite part? Do you have a preferred angle? I'd love to get into the cinematics of these videos. What did you enjoy out of it? Tell me about what you thought the tactics should have gone down or how they were, in my opinion, executed perfectly. I mean, Publius Scipio knows his shit. See you guys next time.